Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Arthur Oken, he's a Miami boy. He did come here many, many years ago, but then he went back up north after he graduated from the University of Miami, and he's had a very interesting life, and of course he thought he was going to retire. But people like Arthur, they don't retire. They don't get to retire. Too smart, too enthusiastic, too energetic. But what do? Well, some people go to senior centers, some people go travel, but what Arthur decided to do was make a difference. And we all know the one thing that older adults especially need are medication. So tell us how it's all evolved and how you did this.
Well, a number of years ago, by the way, so people can't tell on the radio, but I'm going to be 79 years old. So when I
My age.
When I talk about yes, but you never look, it. So a number of years ago, both my wife and I both were in the donut hole in April, and it was like a shock. I couldn't believe what the cost of medication was, and I started to look for ways to save money, and I had heard talk about Canadian internet, Canadian meds, and we looked into it. I found that I was able to save money if I could jump back and forth between different companies, and I realized that maybe I could give back to my community by consulting. And so I put an ad in the paper and said, I will sit down with you, and for $100, I will go over your meds and I will save you money. If I can't save you more than $100, you don't pay me. If I save you $1,000, $2,000, whatever, the $100 would be well spent. And I had a lot of response, but the people couldn't understand having to jump back and forth between different companies. A lot of them were in computer savvy. The new seniors and the boomers coming in now are more computer savvy than my age group.
So you're saying it really wasn't necessary that they had to do that if they knew what they were doing?
They were asking me to do it, and that was not part of the deal. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll look into it and maybe become an affiliate of a operation. I did go in with one company, but they were charging me too much money, and I got very lucky and found a New Zealand company, and their prices were very reasonable and made me very competitive, and that was 4 years ago.
So tell us what you actually do. I mean, you don't just sit in a chair. You have to do a lot of research. You have to figure out things.
Well, we are a telephone center for New Zealand pharmacy. New Zealand pharmacy works the same way as Canadian pharmacies. When you talk about Canadian pharmacies, you're not necessarily getting Canadian drugs. Maybe 15% of what they sell is actually made in Canada. It's a small country, really, population-wise. And so they do buy from overseas. All the Canadian internet companies formed an affiliation, and they checked out many manufacturers, and they checked out various pharmacies in about a half a dozen places throughout the world that they wanted to work with, and they're checked out constantly. The New Zealand operation that I work with had 2 Canadian sites, believe it or not.
So people couldn't do this themselves. You're
not allowed. You are not allowed to order medications outside of the U.S. Branded medications, when you walk into a pharmacy, have to be made in the United States. And the drug lobby is extremely strong. I read someplace that we account for maybe 5% of the world's population, and we account for 85 or 90% of drug expenditures.
Amazing. And why is that?
The drug lobby is very strong. Very, very strong.
Well, let me just add to that. I think it must have been, we've been doing this magazine almost 30 years, and I think it could have been 10 to 15 years ago where you could order directly from Canada.
Yes.
There were a lot of Canadian drug companies, a lot of people were doing. All of a sudden, bang, the door slammed. There were no more Canadian companies.
No, they are. You do have There are Canadian internets. There are my New Zealand company. But what happened was about 3 years ago, the drug lobby saw to it that you can't use credit cards when you're in the United States ordering from a company such as us in the United States. 3 to 4 years ago, there were dozens and dozens and dozens of storefronts in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. They're all gone because they were all tied in with credit cards. I met with my supplier. He happened to be in Orlando in a meeting, and he says, "Are you going to survive accepting checks?" I says, "I don't have any alternative." And
but you've said that checks have been okay. That you haven't really been hurt by checks.
No, I don't know what we're losing. But the nice thing is, and God bless my seniors, we've had very few checks go bad. I used to have a check service. I was paying money that I didn't think was necessary.
Well, that's good, because I guess I always tend to feel generally people are honest, and unless they have a bad check, and then they'll make it up in some other way.
But it boils down to is that we were able to get our drugs. For example, most manufacturers have a plant in Turkey, and the reason being is that most of Europe has price controls on their drugs. So almost every manufacturer built a plant in Turkey, and some of them built in India. And the reason for Turkey was that it was part of NATO and that they could ship across borders with no problem. And they could bring in medications considerably far less than they were charging here in the U.S. And we were able to buy from the U.K., from Turkey, the manufacturers, from New Zealand, Australia, Canada.
But Arthur, probably the one question is it safe? I'm sure that's what you have to continue to tell people.
Has to make the same patented product wherever they have a plant. That's what it boils down to. They own the plants, they operate the plants, and it has to be the same patented product. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same name. It's very common for European brands to have a different name than a brand in the U.S.
So it's like, I took a pink pill, but now it's a blue pill.
Oh,
right?
No. It's the identical product.
Oh, it is.
When it's branded, it has to be the identical product.
I see.
It's not like generics, which can keep changing every couple of months.
Right.
In fact, when we sell generics, we try to stay with the same manufacturer all the time so that the product doesn't change.
That's right, because people say, I better take the yellow pill. Well, let's go into the ophthalmic prescription medication. So tell us why people take that for their vision. Besides, you mentioned glaucoma, probably macular degeneration.
Well, it's the major use we see is it will be for glaucoma, which is really hypertension in the eye. The idea behind the medications is to reduce the pressure in the eye. The other medications that were used are to create tears to make the eye, be
the dry eye syndrome.
And those are the two major ones that we see with our clients.
Now, you have ophthalmic steroids.
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about? No, glaucoma is different. But what's the steroids?
Corticosteroids are used for glaucoma.
And so people have to buy these products. And are they expensive?
Very. They're very expensive. Again, when we get into the high tiers, the tier 3s and the tier 4s, and believe it or not, a lot of these are not covered. The price that we get here in the U.S. is unbelievable. And so what happens is we have a good fix as to what the expenditures could be. Every insurance company, for some reason, has a different tier level. They can choose whether they're going to cover the medication or not. I just had a lady spoke to me a few weeks ago, and she says she uses a preservative-free medication, and there's only one brand, and it's Timolol, which is which happens to be they make a preservative-free version, and the drug companies are not covering. Her insurance company stopped covering it. She went from paying like maybe $30, $40 a month to having to pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds
Do
of
they
dollars.
think that you're making the profit, or you explain to them that that's what the price is?
Well, I have people who say to me, you're telling me that's the price for 1 month? I said, no, it's for 3 months. And they said, how could you do it so low? I said, the manufacturer has plants overseas. They don't charge that much overseas.
Oh, so they see you as a benefit, not as someone ripping them off.
Yes, that's what it boils down to. I had one lady, it was a couple of months ago. It's a story I love to tell. She was looking for a medication, and she said, I just spent $400 for 1 month for this medication. And I said to her, well, it's going to be $282. And before I could finish, she said, oh, that's a good savings. I says, no, it's $282 for 3 months. And she says, hold on, I just fell off my chair.
I love that.
So can you imagine paying where she was paying $1,200? It's now costing her $282.
Arthur, I am so happy that you are doing this in our magazine and you're helping so many people. Let me give people your toll-free number. And this is the best deal. And he is such a nice man, and he's so legitimate. And I really hope that you'll write this down. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. Write it down. Don't be like a lot of people putting on little yellow pieces of paper and then you can't find it. Put it in a little booklet. Put it on your refrigerator. I don't care where. But it's toll-free, 1-888-980-8564. 888-980-8564. And you can also get to see Arthur on YouTube. As soon as a few weeks, you'll be able to hear this and get your friends to see it and listen to him. Now, let me just say that if you want to do this, you need to know that their office hours are Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 5:30. Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30. So you're really enjoying this a lot, aren't you? I mean, you feel like you're doing something really good for people.
It's a wonderful feeling. Especially when someone turns around and they tell me that I've saved the money. The other area is in saving money is the donut hole, our infamous donut hole. We have people who call us up and tell us, we're in the donut hole, now you got to help me. And I said to them, you should be thinking of the donut hole before you get into it. Now, the donut hole is when you earn Medicare and you're buying your medications through your Medicare insurance or through your supplemental insurance, they have tiers. Tiers 1 and 2 are really inexpensive medications. But when you get into tier 3 and tier 4, or it's not covered, then all of a sudden you can get into the donut hole. And the strange thing about the donut hole, which a lot of people don't seem to realize, it's not what you're paying in the copay, it's what the retail price is that the insurance company lists. A brand like Multac, which is a specialized heart medication, they pay maybe $135 for 3 months for the product, but it costs $1,700 retail.
Oh, I can't believe
this. The donut
this.
hole is around $4,000, and if you buy Multac twice during the course of the year, you've already gone up to $3,400. And if you're buying other medications, all of a sudden you're in the donut hole.
So let me ask you this. Can people buy a lot more at one time?
No, we're
see,
only
that's
allowed
the
by law
problem.
to fill 3 months at a time.
Now, what if they would pay whatever it is? The government just won't do it? I mean, if they want, I know what you're saying, the government.
The pharmacy, the pharmacy laws in New Zealand say that you cannot fill more than 3 months. And the same goes really for Canada also.
So you will be able to share with them what they should do so that they avoid that donut hole.
Well, I call it sitting down, but I'm really I go over some medications with people and I say to them, you know what? This is what you're buying. They've given us a list of medications that they use because we really need that for our pharmacy to make sure that there's no conflicts. And many times our pharmacy will get back and say, the doctor wrote a prescription and it doesn't go well with another medication they're using. And that's because people are using different doctors.
But that's wonderful that they're so careful there in Australia.
Well, every pharmacy, even here in the
It's
United
New
States,
Zealand.
should be
I'm
doing
sorry,
that.
it's New Zealand.
Well, the New Zealand pharmacy is very careful, and they want to make sure that there's no problems. And we'll get back to our clients and tell them that the pharmacy told us, and check with your doctor to make sure that this is all right for you to use.
And so when they call you, they really need to know when they're going to run out so that they never run out, because it's going to take them.
Well,
how long does it take by the time they order?
What the procedure is, they call us. They may have seen us on the internet. They may have seen our ads. And we then send them an order form, and we send them a letter which covers what we talked about in terms of the medications that they wanted. We tell them where the medication comes from. We explain to them how it's packed, etc. And we also tell them, how to refill. And if they want to order new medications, the procedures for that. It's all in the letter that we send them with the order form. And
so they can just say, okay, after 3 months, here's an automatic, just go ahead and send it again, right?
Well, no, there's not automatics, because we don't know whether the people are still on that medication.
No, but I mean, can they...
We tell them when they have a month left, because it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for the product to arrive. When they have a month left of their medication, we tell them to call us. If we haven't heard from them, we do what's right, and we do a refill reminder and remind them that they need to refill their medication. We also tell them if they have refills remaining on their prescription, and if there has been any change in price. Manufacturers will at times be changing their prices, and we also have to deal with exchange rates.
Okay.
Everything's in U.S. dollars, but if the exchange rates go up or down, it has to be, that's affected in our price also.
A lot to think about. So we're talking with Arthur Oken, who is the owner of Save On Medical Meds.
Save On Global Meds.
Well, Medical Meds, right. Save On Global Meds. I'm sorry. That's right. Global Pharmacy Connection. And you can save many times up to 80% on your drugs. And let me give you the toll-free number again. It's 1-888-980-8564. Now, they're really local, but I think it's probably better because our radio show extends so far. It's 888-980-8564. They're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And they do have a lovely woman that answers the phone.
We have a number of
now
lovely
you
ladies.
Have some more people.
We have
it's
a number
gotten
of ladies.
So big.
Yes. Well, I'm trying not. I have to be honest with you. The Boomer Times has been a wonderful source of business for us.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
It was funny. We originally were just advertising basically in Palm Beach County, and we started advertising in the Boomer Times. And the girl who was answering the phone, she says, "I just got a call from Aventura." Of
course.
10 minutes later, she says, "I just got another call from Aventura."
Right. Because we're in the Miami Herald.
That's another good part of your magazine being in the Miami Herald.
Well, we're very happy that you're happy with us, and we're very happy with you. So the one thing is Save On Global Meds. It's not a pharmacy, and it does not dispense medication. That's very important.
It's SAVON. It's a play on words.
Right. SAVON, Global Meds. How long did it take you to come up with that name?
About 1 minute.
Well, you're a very smart guy, and of course, this is nice. So, let me just say some things that you say. We offer the same patented brands. We have generics not sold in the U.S. Meds are delivered directly to your home. That's nice. People don't have to go to the pharmacy. Wow. Free shipping on orders over $100, and you can get them on the web. And let me give you that. So get your pencils out. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. It's SaveOnGlobalMeds.com. SAVON Global, GLOBAL, Meds.com. So the packaging, how does it come? So if something's in New Zealand, does the heat or the cold, could it affect it?
We don't handle refrigerated products, number one. Our pharmacy, because especially down here in South Florida, you get that dry ice can just hold up just so long. And if a product doesn't arrive to a consumer, and it happens once in a while, we will reship it at our cost. And the dry ice was really hurting us. And we chose not to handle that. Unfortunately, we get a lot of calls for insulin products that have to be refrigerated, and we do apologize. We do handle a lot of diabetic medications, tablets mostly, And we do handle other syringe items and vials and nebules, for nebulizers, etc. But the ones that have to be refrigerated, we don't handle. And I have to also mention that we don't handle any controlled items. So if you're looking for some very expensive and liked,
go to Mexico, right?
Yeah. What could I tell
you?
You?
But the nice part is that when I thought about that, you don't have to go to the pharmacy and wait in line, right? And you pretty much have everything. Anybody at home now could call you, and you probably can get every single medication other than the ones you were just saying, can't you?
But today someone called up and says, I would like to get this particular medication. Could you give me a price? And I told them that it's a Tier 2 product, and it's very inexpensive, and he's better off going to his pharmacy. I mean, I'll give him a price. I said, but why bother? I'm telling you right now, you can do so much better. And we're very honest with our clients. If we see something that's a Tier 1 or a Tier 2, we'll tell you. A lot of people try to not pay the shipping charge, the extra shipping charge, by adding more medication, which is nice. I mean,
it's $100, right?
But they start asking us for all these Tier 1 and Tier 2s, and we tell them, it's not worth it just to save $9.
Right, just go the drive-in at the pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's awfully good that you're doing something like this. So, going back to the ophthalmic products, are there a lot of the same kind, just different manufacturers? I mean, what makes someone buy one kind based on a different kind?
The doctor. The doctor tells you. The doctor he's knowledgeable. The ophthalmologist is knowledgeable about how the characteristics of different eye drops, and you could be coming in for an eye infection. You can have seasonal allergies. You can have dry eye. You can have it could be, as we said, the glaucoma.
Okay, so
macular.
Yeah.
But the doctor has their preferences of the what they want you to use, and that's what we're going to fill. I mean, we're not going to try to second guess a doctor.
Of course not. So let's move backwards. When you first started, I think it's what you've been doing 3 years.
4 years.
4 years. Have you learned a lot about medication?
Well, I did learn a lot about it, but I did work in my past life working with drug companies. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about drugs and the manufacturing of drugs. We had a situation where someone said, I'm getting the lower dose of a medication and it's costing more than the higher dose. And I try to explain to them that a manufacturer's costs are based on the run. It could take them a half a day or a full day to set up the equipment to make a run. And once that's done, if it's a major product that has a lot of sales, they may get a day or 2 days of a run. And so it's the day to set it up and the 2 days that they run it, so they can amortize the cost over that. If it's a low-selling item, which could be the lower dose, they have the day set up and maybe a half-day run. So it costs them more money to make the product. And so that's why the cost will go up sometimes when you have a weaker dose than the higher dose.
Arthur, I think people are so lucky to have you to be able to talk about this. I mean, you're not just a businessman. You know so much, and you're very intelligent. So I think you investigate a lot of things.
You're one of the smartest people I've ever met.
Right. That's good. Thank you. But I do enjoy talking to you, and I'm sure people do. Do you usually get on the phone to everybody that wants to talk to someone?
My 3 ladies answer the phones. I try not to because I'm busy writing ads for some companies. I'm always going over, checking out prices, and I will answer the phone calls.
I want to talk to the boss, right?
We have people who I started with who only want to talk to me.
Once they know you,
we have a wonderful relationship with so many of our clients, particularly if they're New York based or they were Yankee or Met fans or New York Giant fans. We have a lot to talk about. Someone will tell me that I give them the address. It's on our mailing address is on Forest Hill Boulevard.
They don't come there, do they?
Some have.
Some have,
but it's a mailing address,
right? Of course.
And we're actually on Lake Worth Road,
right?
So,
but they want to sit and talk. They probably want to buy you a cup of coffee.
But I started to tell you that they'll go, okay, it's blank, 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 Forest Hills Boulevard. I says, we're not in New York. It's Forest Hill. Right. And then I'll say to them, and then I would like to know where there's a hill around here.
Yeah, I'm sure that you have a lot of fun with the people. But what I'm going to do is thank you very much for coming. And let me give you a toll-free number again. It's 888-980-8564. And they can get on the web and they can actually order it that way. I think. Savon, S-A-V-O-N, globalmeds.com. Can they order it on the web without talking to anyone?
No, they have to call
They have to talk to you, but at least they'll be able to look at all the things I'm looking at. And if you have your February issue in your hand, you can go to page 10. You'll see the charming Mr. Oken, and then you'll be able to see a whole list of all the medications. So read it carefully. And thank you very much for being here.
That's only a partial list, by the way.
A partial list, yeah, that's right. Our magazine couldn't handle all of it. So
7,000 items to handle.
Thank you very much for just giving us a partial list. Okay, we'll hear from you again. Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you.